Hey y'all, thanks for joining me for today's video. I think I'm going to retire the Blind Buy Chronicles series that I've been doing for the better part of like a year and a half and replace that with this style of video. There's a few reasons for that. One is that I have been doing a lot less blind buying. I'm still a big fan of blind buying. Let's be clear. In my area, I don't have a lot of places where I can go and sniff fragrances. So the alternative is to buy samples. And you know how I feel about that. I both love it and I hate it. There's pros and cons to sampling fragrances, not the least of which that can be an expensive hobby in and of itself. But I will share one of the pros is that I do have a lot of fun trying a lot of different fragrances. It's almost like a sport. So I'm sampling a lot more. So the series title doesn't really work anymore because very few are blind buys that are coming in because of that sampling. The other thing is that because of changing the format for the one in, one out, which seemed like it would be a lot of fun. You know, sometimes ideas in your head are great and then in practice, they're just not. That last video I did where I shared 20 fragrances that were coming in and 20 that were going out just absolutely exhausted me. I felt like I had run this marathon and burned all these calories mentally anyway, trying to get through that video and get through the editing of it. So it just didn't feel as fun for me or as fulfilling. So hope that makes sense. Forgive me for changing it up, but those are the two main reasons. I'm going to share with you 10 fragrances today that I'm excited to talk about. There's something about them that's compelling to me, interesting. As always, if you've tried any of these, please share your thoughts in the comments. Good, bad, or indifferent. I welcome different opinions, and I know other viewers appreciate hearing how fragrances have worked out for fellow viewers and sometimes fellow YouTubers. So feel free, comment away about your experiences with these. All right, let's get to it. So some of these I've mentioned before, but I thought I would group them together. And I'll start off with one that, boy, has it been making the rounds on YouTube and Instagram, and people either love it or they hate it. I haven't heard anyone, neither reviewer on YouTube or other social media outlets, nor viewer, say, I feel meh about it. It's like this or that. And it is Amouage Guidance. So let's take a minute for this beautiful bottle with this nudie pink color and this gorgeous cream top and emblem on the front there. If you're not familiar with Amouage, all the bottles look like this and they have these gorgeous magnetic tops. So from that perspective, the bottles are truly a luxe experience. Amouage as a house can be really a challenging one. I've tried a lot of their fragrances and they're all beautiful works of art in their own way, but many of them are not for me. They are unwearable for me. So Amouage, I was super excited to try because of all the hype. And I sampled it first and I liked it. I thought that it was sort of a woody, floral perfume when I first tried it. And as I've played with it more, I have come to understand it better. As I always say, sampling and trying, full body experience can be two different things sometimes. Gives you an idea when you sample, but you just don't get like the whole vibe, the whole feeling, and you don't get the whole reaction from others. Anyway, this fragrance does have a beautiful fruit in it. Pear, some like a sweetie, a sweet aspect to it, as well as a nutty aspect, gorgeous sandalwood. And I do still get a strong floral in the base of this, as well as some vanilla. So it's a really nice mix of fruity, floral, woody, sweet. And I find it to be a really appealing fragrance. Even though some people find this to be super challenging, I will tell you, it's beloved here in my house. The kids like it, which is interesting for an Amouage fragrance. They're not turned off by it because most of the other Amouages, they like, I shouldn't say all, a good portion of the stronger, more well-known Amouages can be a little sort of repulsive to young noses. And this, my husband finds very sexy on me. When I spray this, even when I come by like at night, if I spritz my wrist like right before bed, he's following me around trying to figure out what I'm wearing and sniffing on me. So this is a big winner for me. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this and if it's a love or a hate for you. So for the next fragrance, it's one that actually someone out there recommended. I apologize, I don't remember who, but it was from the vanilla videos that I posted, probably the Alluring Vanillas video. One of you beautiful people out there posted, try Vana Gloria. This is from hold on, y'all. Laboratorio Olfattivo. Laboratorio Olfattivo, Vana Gloria. I purchased this from ministryofscent.com. Go check them out. They're not sponsored, none of that. But they have a nice variety of niche houses. In fact, I purchased another one that I'm going to talk about here in a minute from them. Listen, let me just be clear because I mentioned niche houses. I don't care what you wear. I don't care if you wear celebrity fragrances. I don't care if you wear cheapies, designer, if you wear niche, if you wear like the highest, most expensive fragrances out there. Just smell good, It really doesn't matter. I don't care if you wear oils from Oil Perfumery. So I don't bring that up to say that you should purchase niche. I don't play all those perfume reindeer games, you all. If it smells good, it smells good. But if you're into niche fragrances, or there are some fragrances that you can't find anywhere, try Ministry of Scent and see if they carry the brand. That's all. Rant over. So I purchased a discovery set from this house, from Ministry of Scent. And they have a nice thing where if you like a fragrance from a discovery set, you can get a discount on a full bottle. So, I'm all about that discount. And I chose this. I enjoyed the discovery set experience, but this really stood out to me. So what do we have here? This beautiful, like sweet, almost like a baking vanilla. It gives me wafts of cake coming out of an oven, but not sickly sweet, just like that nice subtle sweetness from a bakery, for example, that's making cakes wafting out into the street with this little like suede accord in the background and a little like Tic Tacs worth of incense. The incense is not overpowering. In fact, you wouldn't even notice that it was in there unless you're sensitive to those types of smells. But it's a really, in my mind, a gorgeous vanilla. And one, like with all these fragrances, you have to try these on skin and let them bloom, let them blossom on your skin versus just like on a blotter, which gives you a very distorted impression of what a fragrance smells like. If you smell this one just on paper, it's going to feel or smell to your nose slightly like a plastic vanilla kind of a thing. Like if somebody sprinkled baking vanilla on fresh toy plastic. But on skin, it blossoms and deepens and becomes almost like this intoxicating vanilla fragrance. You do have to enjoy a little bit of background suadiness in your fragrances because you do pick that up in here for sure. But by and large, the front player, the first string, second string, and third string players in this fragrance are that gorgeous baking vanilla. I think it's a bourbon vanilla to be exact. And yeah, this is a gorgeous addition to my collection. Would be like a sexy vanilla for summertime and definitely a really appropriate vanilla for all year round. So big thumbs up on Vana Gloria. Another fragrance that I sampled that I just adore this bottle so much, and I adore the fragrance too. But it is odd. I don't think that a lot of people would appreciate this fragrance, but I have to share it because I love it. And that's what the channel is about, sharing with you my thoughts on fragrances. They might not be other people's thoughts. This is my first Zoologist bottle, and it's Snowy Owl. Snowy Owl. I do like the simplicity of these bottles. It comes with almost like this faux leather wrap around the cap and then the imprinting on the cap, which I always think is a nice addition. But y'all, it is the artwork on these bottles that absolutely just gets to me. Look at the cuteness of this Snowy Owl. Is that not just the most precious thing? If you're an animal lover, definitely check into this house and get some samples. I tried this and cow and was it squid or ink or camel was another one, but there was no seahorse. Seahorse was the one that I tried. And so my impressions of those are in a video that I can link below. This is what the thumbnail looks like. And this is the one that absolutely captured my heart. I tried bee also. Bee was really good. I liked cow, and I'm thinking of getting cow. I want to try elephant. Have you tried elephant? I mean, the name is crazy. You would think, have you smelled elephant or like the elephant environment? Or it's not pretty, y'all. But the notes sound really lovely, like a green coconut woody fragrance. So I definitely want to try that. But let's talk about Snowy Owl. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that my house backs up to some woods and we get owls in the back of our property from time to time. I wouldn't say very often. I'd say like once a month, we may hear an owl or a couple of owls or whatever out in the back. And the sound in the middle of the night is just glorious. It's quiet and you hear this beautiful hoo, 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 hoo. Yeah, I just like hooted for y'all. So what is it that you get with this fragrance? As it opens up, you get this soft mint and almost like a powdery greenness, like a chalky greenness that opens it up. And it's really like, oh, this is going to be a different kind of experience. As it settles down, it becomes a little bit musky. It stays slightly powdery, but like a dense powderiness, not super light in the air. It has weight to it and it gets woody. And I mean woody in like a very soft way. Here's what's interesting about this fragrance that's difficult to describe. This very much smells like the feathers of a bird. This very much evokes the idea of a snowy environment along with a little bit of feathers. If you've been ever close enough to a big bird to smell what the feathers of that bird smell like, it does give you some of that. So in that sense, it's a really interesting fragrance. I would also say that this smells oddly fresh. Okay. So it's going to be in my fresh summer fragrances video because I could see myself really rocking this in the warm months. because it does have like this lightness and this airiness to it that I find really appealing. If you like the smell of cedar, and so now I'm talking about the kind of like cedar chips that you might have in, say, a hamster cage, like the idea of that, stay with me, or pencil shavings, that direction of woodiness appeals to you. Add a little sprinkling of mint on top of that, a little bit of dry shaved coconut, a little bit of what you imagine bird feathers to smell like, or actually what they really smell like. That's what you get in here. So in that sense, it's a really unique fragrance. I don't know that a lot of people would love this or want to smell like this, but I was very intrigued by it and enjoyed it even more when I've sampled it as it has come into the collection. I've been able to give this a more decent wear. Snowy Owl. So for the next fragrance, I've either talked about it already or I'm going to talk about it in a video about beachy fragrances. This is from Veronique Gabai, and this is called Swordleblage. Swordleblage. So I'd love to read you the notes on this, but I'm not sure that it really matters because what I get from this is a little bit different than what the notes might suggest. The notes do have some florals in here, orange blossom, magnolia, jasmine, tuberose, and suggest a little bit of woodiness. What you really get from this for me is the smell of the air as you are approaching beach, perhaps even at sunset. There isn't like the sort of funkiness that you get from low tide, like that marini smell. I don't mean that. It's like this subtle, salty sea air, but very, very, very subtle, along with pale white florals, perhaps from a garden that is right alongside the sand or right off of the sand on a boardwalk or something along those lines. It's like the most subtle version of the air that you might get seaside, oceanside, all of that. I will say this about the Veronique Gabai fragrances. I have this one, I have Sexy Garrigue now, and a third one that is on the way. They are more subtle fragrances. These are not hugely projecting fragrances. They're not your beast mode fragrances that are going to take you into the evening. Veronique Gabai, the house, uses really refined materials that are more delicate in nature and may not last as long, but it's a more sort of subtle, understated elegance with these fragrances. So if that's your zhuzh, you may want to think about that. These bottles are gorgeous. They retail for $260. I think where I got this from was scentsplit.com, I believe, had one, and I used like a 15% off coupon for this. You can also find Veronique Gabai on So Avant-Garde. I'm an official partner with So Avant-Garde and have a discount code of Veronica20, which is in the description box if you so choose. So, or you can buy directly from the Veronique Gabai website. And there are a couple of other online retailers if you want to Google Veronique Gabai fragrances and make your own decision about where you want to shop. But love the bottles, love the understated nature of these. And these are ones that I would reach for if I didn't want to be doing the most. I just want to have a beautiful, subtle, pleasant smell. Sur la plage. I think I found this next fragrance on Lucky Scent, but don't quote me on that. And I don't have a discount code for Lucky Scent, but I may someday. This is from Jousset, and this is Accident à la Vanille, the Madeleine de Proust flanker. Madeleine de Proust. I have tried Accident à la Vanille itself, beautiful vanilla fragrance. Jousset is one of those houses that I have had mixed luck with. Some of the fragrances smell a little bit like gasoline to me, and others smell divine. This fragrance is one that smelled divine to me. I think it's a little harder to find, I believe. Is it limited edition? I'm not quite sure. But so let me tell you what this smells like without looking up the notes. It's a deep, dark, sensual vanilla to me. And it gives me a lot of what graham cracker smells like. If you've made s'mores and you've had a graham cracker that's been warmed up, it's that kind of a smell, along with this sort of toasted, like I said, caramel. Imagine a caramel that has solidified, what that might smell like, with some coconut shavings on it. That's what I get out of this fragrance. And I think there's something like particularly alluring about it. So I have been enjoying this from time to time. I think I'll enjoy it even more as it cools down into the fall and winter, but it's definitely a lovely one. And if you're a gourmand lover, I would say at least try it out and see if it works out for you. I've been looking for this next fragrance for quite some time and found it on Joma Shop. It is Limitless Shopping. Before I talk about this fragrance, I'm also a Joma Shop partner and have that link in the description box as well. And you're welcome to shop for this fragrance and all the ones that I'm going to talk about from here forward from Joma Shop. It's one of my favorite places to shop because of the discounts. They aren't sponsoring this video, but I am a partner. Anyway, Limitless Shopping was the only place that I found that fragrance. I also want to give a shout out to a viewer, one of our fragrance friends here, Charlie Bia, who sent me some samples. And this was among the samples. I had already purchased this when her sample came in, but I enjoyed the little package that she sent. So thank you so much. You guys are so nice to send me samples to try from your own personal collection. I really appreciate it. Limitless Shopping. I do enjoy these Trussardi bottles. I think I have 4 that look like this with the head of, I think it's a greyhound on it. And this is a longer name, but I'll just leave it at Limitless Shopping to not embarrass myself on the pronunciation piece. And this is a fragrance that is about, for me, mostly a really soft, subtle honey. The honey in here is not a syrupy, deep, overwhelming honey. I find it a soft, light, uplifting honey, perhaps because it's also accompanied by what is listed on Fragrantica as being an apple note, which if it's apple or whatever, and also some bergamot, it gives it a brightness and a happiness that I think makes this really nice for spring and summer and into the early fall. There is some other sweetness, like a vanillic sweetness in here and a little bit of musk in the background. I think this is delightful, easy to wear, like easy breezy with some sweetness. It's not like when you think of easy breezy, a lot of people think of soapy fragrances like aldehydic fragrances or citrusy fragrances. And I would say this is a little bit more of a serious easy breezy fragrance because of the honey. I think it's a really sort of easy wear. If you've been into L'Occitane and you have tried their, I forget what it's called, but the fragrance has the lavender and honey, the feeling that that fragrance gives you is a little bit of this. So big thumbs up on this. I have this sitting on my white t-shirt fragrances shelved for easy reach for the summertime. I'm not sure if it'll stay there, but for right now, that's how my mind is classifying this fragrance. And I think it's on Joma Shop for $70 something if it's still available there because it was a hard one to find. Next up is one that was a Mother's Day gift from my husband. He purchased this through Joma Shop, and it is Gardenia Antigua from the Armani Privé line. This is a fragrance that I did sample before. It's in one of those like opinions on popular fragrances, hype fragrances videos, Purchase or Pass, that whole series. I did talk about this one, and I really enjoyed it, like surprisingly so during that series, because I have a lot of gardenia and tuberose types of fragrances, a lot of white floral fragrances. And so for something to catch my attention in that category, I need to really like it because I have such a wide array that it's hard for something to stand out. That's just because of my collection, not because of the fragrances itself. But this is a gorgeous gardenia, ylang-ylang, and musk fragrance. Beautiful for the deep heat of the summer. It's light, it's fresh, it's girly and feminine, and all things that you might imagine for that flowy white or floral dress kind of a day in the summer. And you just want to spritz something on that you know you're going to smell good in, you're going to smell pretty, you're going to smell feminine, and it's going to be attractive to those around you. So Gardenia Antigua is a win for me, big win. Next up is an actual blind buy, and one that I will say right now is verging on a like. I can't say I love this at the moment, and I don't dislike this, and I'll explain why. And this is Almaz from Kajal. So I have tried Lamar from this brand that is known for that. Here's a funny thing. People talk about Lamar having a pineapple opening and like a woody dry down. And so I have the booklet from the fragrance house that tells you about all of the perfumes. And this does not list pineapple as being in Lamar. However, it does list general fruity notes. So I don't know if there's actual pineapple. I swore I smelled pineapple in Lamar, but we're not here to talk about Lamar. I also own Dahab, which is this gorgeous like apple and passion fruit, really deep, sultry fragrance. And then so here's Almaz, which I've been interested to try. The bottles on these are pretty interesting. This is maybe not my favorite of the bunch. I think the Lamar bottle is my favorite, even though I don't want a full bottle of that right now. And the Dahab bottle is nice too. But anyway, this fragrance, and I'll share with you what some of the notes are from the actual perfumer. It lists as the top bergamot and black currant, in the heart, raspberry, flower notes, and heliotrope, and then musk, wood notes, vanilla, amber, brown sugar in the base. People talked about this fragrance being a fruit bomb, like a raspberry bomb of a fragrance. And so here's the reason that it's alike. It has this tart berry deepness to it. For sure. It comes off pretty strong. This one is known not to be maybe as long lasting and as projecting as its two sisters that people talk about a lot. I like the fruitiness in here. When I first sniff it, it gives me this very faint hint like I'm going to get a headache. I don't get a headache. So I want to give this more of a full day wear. I've just sort of sprayed on skin and I like the fruitiness of it, but it smells to me like hyper concentrated fruit punch. If that sounds good to you, like a berry fruit punch, then hey, this may be your zhuzh. I can't really report on this right now except to say that I like it. And I want to make sure that it's not going to be cloying or give me a headache. And so let me report back. I do like the cap on this one, even though I like the gold bottle on Lamar more, but that's okay. I knew what I was getting with this. And this is also available on Joma Shop, I think for like 114 or something like that. So summertime, yes. And I'll let y'all know in an upcoming video, like maybe one of those monthly award videos, how this fragrance actually works out for a full day wear. The next two are definite loves for me. This first one, I wasn't totally sure about. I had sampled it and really liked it and just wasn't sure how it was going to play out in real life, so to speak. And it was a win. This is Gold Coast by Bond Number 9. I do wish, this is so petty, I can't even believe I'm going to tell y'all this. I do wish it had something around the neck. I know. Come on, Veronica. The rest of the bottle is pretty interesting. It's got like this holographic design where you can tell the fill level of it. And anyway, what does this fragrance smell like? It's named after the Gold Coast, which if I remember correctly from what I read on the Bond Number 9 site, and I'm from New York City, y'all, and I never knew there was an area called the Gold Coast down in southern Manhattan, lower Manhattan. It's one of those fragrances that plays a little bit of like peekaboo on you where you spray yourself and you think it has calmed down. And as you go through the day, there are people coming up to you asking you what you're wearing because it's really pleasant and leaves a beautiful sillage, a beautiful, happy summery trail with it, you all. So it's a very, for me, aquatic feeling fragrance. Like there's a wateriness to it that I really enjoy, as well as that fresh, what I call almost like a watermelon note. It does give you a little bit of that really fresh marine air, not the like fishy marine air, but the fresh marine air that, you know, you might get on a boardwalk as you're walking by the evening and there's the sort of spray from the ocean coming up. But it's a floral aquatic fragrance with like some hints of fruitiness, not sweet fruitiness, but a little bit of hints of like I said, that watermelon type of thing happening in the background. There's a rose in here, and is it peony or something like that? But that type of floral, but a really unique fragrance, one that's really difficult to describe, and an absolute love, and one that husband enjoyed on me too. So then the last fragrance, also available on Joma Shop for a steal, you guys, is Arethusa from Tiziana Terenzi. One that I was a little bit hesitant to try because of the description. The reviews seem to be a little bit all over the place for this. But and the thing about this fragrance is that the times that I've tried it, I would describe it differently each time. It almost does like this weird magic Houdini act on me where it shows me different aspects of itself every time that I try it. So today I would describe this as what a Jolly Rancher tastes like in your mouth and smells like as you taste it. That on top of some woodiness with this very faint sort of marine air in the background. This smells really good on me and on my husband. When it first came, we both liked it a lot and just weren't sure whose shelf we would put it on. So it's living on my shelf, noting that either one of us can wear it. He really likes this on me. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today and hearing about the 10 new fragrances that I added that are worth talking about with you. If you've tried any of these, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, my friends.